Howdy, welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. We're capoed up a couple frets today. We're playing out G, but we're capoed up 2 frets, so that means we're playing in the key of A. We're doing this great old fiddle tune, Bill Cheatham. I taught an advanced version of this back in the old days, and I've had lots of requests to come back and present a more straight-ahead version. That's what we're going to do. We're going to work on some other stuff, too. We're going to really work on our alternating picking, and then we're also working on shifting our fret hand to be the most strategic as we play strategery. All right, if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, here in a moment, I'll ask you to come over to the website, BanjoBenClark.com. You can join as a Gold Pick member, have access to hundreds of lessons, just like this one. This is a 20-plus minute lesson. I've got the tabs exactly as I've played it. Then I have 3 different speeds of rhythm MP3 jam tracks where I just play like 3 times through the progression so you can sit around and get good at this one. All right, let's jump right into Bill Cheatham. Hey y'all, let's learn Bill Cheatham. This is a great old fiddle tune. It's got a very distinct melody. It's got that old fiddle tune structure that so many of them have, where we have an A part that lasts 8 measures, and then it will repeat that, and then it'll go into a B part. It has a different melody, different chord progression for 8 measures, and it will repeat that. So we have A, A, B, B, a total of 32 measures. Now we're in the key of A, okay, but we're playing out of a G position. So how do we do that? How do we get by with that? Well, we're going to capo up to the 2nd fret. You'll need a capo, and then we can play out of the G position. So whenever we make a G chord, capoed on the 2nd fret, we're really playing an A chord. All right. Good stuff. Now let's go ahead and throw up the tab, because there's a couple things I want to tell you about before we dive right in. First thing is that this is a very straight ahead melody version. I taught a very advanced version years ago. Had all kinds of slides and pull-offs and licks and crazy things. This one doesn't. It's just the straight ahead melody I'm presenting to you. Actually, we don't have any slides in it. We don't have any hammer-ons. No pull-offs. Everything's straight up picking. We're doing alternate picking, and that's what you see beneath each one of these notes are those little black arrows. So down arrow would be a down stroke. And those happen on down beats. An up arrow would be an upstroke, and those happen on the up beats. Okay? Now the other thing I just want to mention really quick is that we're going to be working on our fret hand positions. Okay, so if we have our index finger down over this 1st fret, which I know is the 3rd fret, but we're going to imagine like the capo is the nut of the guitar. So here's fret number 1. That would be home position, where we have a finger covering each fret. Okay, but that's not always the best way to play. Sometimes we need to shift up and use our stronger fingers to play the frets that we want to play. So we might go up to 2nd or 3rd or 4th position. And I'm going to label those the way that I play them. So we're actually going to start out here where the index finger is over the 3rd fret. And then you'll see at the end of that first measure, it says I-2. That means that our index is going to shift right there down over the 2nd fret. And then later on, you see I-1. So we're going to practice doing that to maximize our strength. And we're going to pick very strategic times to switch. One other thing, we start here, you'll see measure 3. Where do measure 1 and 2 go? Well, those are, don't show, because in the TEF file, those are just pickup measures. And so we're going to start here. The first measure that we see is actually numbered 3. And you know, the very first notes of Bill Cheatham are the most recognizable as far as the melody goes. It sounds just like this. Bum, bum, bum. There's this major 6th interval. And when you hear that, you know immediately that it's Bill Cheatham. And so I'm going to play those notes there in that measure 3, the first measure that you see. But I'm not going to play that open B string. I'm going to grab it on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, same note. And I'm going to do that because I want to grab a harmony note above it. I'm just going to go ahead and beef it up a little bit right here at the very start. So those are the notes. So our first 3 notes of the song sound like this. So that's our position, and then immediately in the last beat of that measure, we're going to drop down to where index is over the 2nd fret, and then measure 4 there, we're going to begin working this 4th fret pattern. 4, 2, open, 4, 2, open. Okay, and we're going to use our ring finger on that 4th fret. If we were down in our home position, our pinky would be having to play that. Not a problem, you can do that, and it's good to work our pinky, but it's best, especially when we're going fast, to use our stronger fingers whenever possible. Now we're going to shift there going into this measure 5, and we're going into a C position. It's really a D chord. Since we're capoed up, it's we play it as a C chord. Okay, and we're going to shift down I-1. That just means our index finger's coming down here. And I want you to go ahead and get in the C position, and we're going to play a lick through that chord. And I like to hear those notes ring out. And then we're going to remain in the last measure of this line. We're going to remain in this first home position. So let me play this first line for you. Later on in the lesson, I'm going to play the whole thing much slower than this. I just want to give you a little context here. Shift. Pretty cool, huh? Now when we get to measure 7, we're jumping back to that third position. Okay, so index over the 3rd fret, grabbing that same harmony double stop that we did before. And so this measure's the same as measure 4. And we're going to shift down and do a similar pattern. But this time we're going to climb up because measures 9 and 10 are the end, the last 2 measures of the first A part. So it's going to be the end of this phrase. So as we get to measure 9, we're going to slide down to index over the 1st fret. And then walk right down the scale, measure 10. I'll play 7 through 10. Now when we get into measure 11, we have our second A part.